Okay, so recently Code 52 had this show and tell thing going, and I wanted to show a tool that I've been working on, but I didn't really want to write a long blog post, so I thought I would come in and do it with a video. So I've got some data in a database here, just my library. This is a database that I made up just by pulling some junk data from all over the place and putting it together just to prove that I've got real data in here, some records in each one of these things. It's 290 loan items. It's really just information about people who are borrowing books from a user group library somewhere. Really simple stuff: email address, name, some address info so that we know where they might have taken the books in case they run off, whatever else. Now, on a recent project that I was working on, we had a situation where we had some structured data that we needed to move in between various systems, and we needed to be able to basically take a snapshot of the data and put a copy of that snapshot back into a new database that had been built up from scratch. And so that's really what this tool is all about. The tool is called Forklift, and I'm just going to show it working really quickly. So I just want to show you that in the folder where I've got this little Forklift executable, it's just a little command line tool. There's nothing else in here. And I've got a little console window going here, so I can come in and I can say Forklift, which is the name of the tool, a command. There's only two commands. I'm going to show the pull command first. The pull is really just about extracting data from the database. We need to know the database we're going to pull things out of, so it's my library, and then we're going to give it a table name. So in this case, there's a few tables in here. I'm just going to grab the country table. Country. Hit enter, and it's telling me there's a whole bunch of things that it can't find. We'll get to what those are in a minute. It's showing me the query that it's actually going to run. Notice it's running a for XML query. It literally just takes the results of that and dumps it into a file for us. So we've now got a new file called extract.xml, and if we open it up in Internet Explorer, we can see we've got the two rows from the country table. For every country in that table, we get a country element, and we get the two columns that are part of the country. The one column that we don't get, so if we jump in and have a look at what's actually in that country table, so you can do a select from that. So we don't get the ID column because, realistically speaking, it's an artificial key and we probably don't care about it. So that's cool. What else can we do? We can go and grab not just countries, but let's go and get state info and see it's now running two queries. We can see both queries being run there, and clicking on the wrong things, opening the wrong things. If we go in and refresh this, we'll see we'll also get state information. Notice that in the state we do get the country ID, but we don't really know what the country ID relates to, and that is the purpose of a plan file. So just going to create a plan file with Notepad. The plan file is a way for Forklift to understand the structure of your data, for you to explain to Forklift what the structure of your data is. Note up here it says you can specify a plan file with the -plan option, and it defaults to forklift.plan, which is why I'm choosing to name it forklift.plan. Yes, I want to create a new one. I've got to start it with a new line. That's a bug in the renderer at the moment, but in here I can say we want to be able to get states. So name of the extract goes into square brackets. The next thing down is the name of the table that we want to start from, and then we just indent with some white space, and so we also want to be able to get country. So we're saying that we're going to go from state, and we want to also get the country that goes with it. And in here we will put country ID, which is the foreign key reference that it's going to use. You don't have to specify what the primary key is because it can go and figure that out from the country table itself. So now we can come in and go countries, states, Forklift pull from my library states, and our query is getting a little bit more complicated. It's not a particularly pretty query, but it is getting more complicated. And so now we get state, and note that inside the state elements we're getting country elements, and that's the details of the country that this is a part of, which is cool. but there's my plan file gone. In this case, because our foreign key reference is country followed by the name of the ID column in country, there's a column called ID in the country table. So we can go and have a look here. In the country table there's a column called ID. The foreign key is simply name of the thing I'm pointing to plus its ID. So it can pick that up by convention. I don't even need to specify that. And we get exactly the same query. Now we could have also done this around the other way, so we can, instead of saying we want to get states with countries, we can come in here and say we want to get countries, and we want to start from the country table, and we want to get states. Wait, pushing the wrong buttons again. So now I can say forklift, pull my library countries, and we'll do it. And now if we go and have a look in our extract file, so now it's organised the other way. Instead of getting states with countries, we now get countries with states. Well, very cool. What else can we get? Well, we could get borrower info. Right, that query took a little bit longer. Let's go and have a look. Note that for borrowers we've got a work address and a residential address. So let's add that to our plan so we can go and pull that information out as well. We're just going to call this one peeps. And borrowers are going to have a work address, so we're saying we want to go to the an element named work address, which is going to be the address table, and we want residential address. This is tabs and spaces in regular Notepad versus Notepad++, make everything look really ugly in here, but otherwise. So now we can go and say, we want to go and pull peeps. Oh no, something's gone wrong. There's nothing called my library in this local SQL database. Oh, there's no borrowers table. So one of the things I've been working on is to try and get better error messages. That one seemed to go okay because it actually told us what was missing. Cool. So it's gone off to try and get peeps for us. Look at that. Now we're getting borrowers with work addresses, postcodes, suburbs, and the address line information. Very nice. Now what about, we want to be able to get the state in here probably, but we don't necessarily need the description of the state. This one. Now I'm just going to quickly clean this up because if I want to, I can say I want to get a work address and a residential address, and I can just comma separate them like that. And that's nice. I don't want to have to repeat myself. I hate repeating myself. So, say we want to get state, we could go in here and say we want to also get state please, and it will go and look up the state. We'll also get the state description. That may not necessarily be what we want. So we can instead say, look up the state by its code. And now when we go and do the extract, make this bigger again. Now when we go and do the extract, instead of getting this state ID, we hit refresh. Now we're going to get the state. Look at this on the end. So this is effectively going to that state table, looking up the state by ID, extracting its code and dropping it into this extract. And we're going to run into a bit of an issue because there are two states at least that have the same code, and that's Washington and Western Australia. I think. I don't know. I could be making that up. But in case we run into conflicts, we need to be able to find some way of actually separating them out. So we can just do another lookup. So we can say we also want to get country, and we want to get country through state. So you can see we can very quickly kind of build up a description of the data that we want to go and grab, and Forklift will go and grab it for us. So now we get state and country. Now the cool thing is that I can go and create a brand new database with none of this data in it, and I can say, please go and insert all of that data into this new database for me. Now in order to do that, because I'm now looking up states and countries, it's not actually going to be carrying that information across. When I go to insert it into a new database, it's going to try and look up that information for me, and that's maybe not what I want. So it's possible that what I really want to do is I want to get country, the table. I want to get this states object, but I don't want to go and grab the country that goes with it. I want to look up the country because I've just got country, and I want to get my peeps item. So you can just specify a bunch of different ones all together and it will go and grab those for you. So now we've got country, we've got states, which I didn't save before doing that, which is why we actually got country info down there. There we go. We've got states, which are going to go and look up the country by code, and then I've got all these people records, all these borrower records with their name, their email address, their work address, and it's looking up their state and their country as well, and it will do all that for me at runtime. And so to prove all of that, I've got the SQL DDL, and I'm going to go and create a brand new database. Okay. And I'm going to go into my brand new demos are cool database, code a new query in there, drop in this DDL. So there's nothing special about this. It's literally just create a bunch of tables and create a bunch of foreign keys in between them. I'm going to run that. Now I should be able to go forklift push. Demos are cool. Country. Oh no, that's not going to work. Alright, abort, abort. Okay, sorted that issue out. It was caused by actually the DDL that I was using once I was creating this database. So I'm going to create the database again. I'm going to give it a different name just to prove. Demos go wrong. Just to prove that it is a different one entirely. Let's go and find it. Demos go wrong. Tasks. What am I doing? New query. I want to go and put some stuff into it. So this is my updated DDL that won't go horribly wrong. And now we can go forklift, push, demos go wrong, country. Alright, the demo gods were happy this time. So, it's showing us again the SQL that is actually going to run insert in a country, insert in a country. So now if we come in and create another query, we can go select star from country, and everything's all good. And this is transactional, so if it gets part way in and everything fails for whatever reason, if one of the things fails, it will happily roll back the whole transaction, which is probably not necessarily a great thing to do. I wouldn't be using this tool on a production database, but while you're shuffling data around in your test and dev environments, this can be really, really handy. And we can try and insert things all at the same time. So we can come in and go, we want the states, and then we want the peeps. And it's showing us all the things that it's inserting there. So now we should have our state table. Cool, and everything in there is just fine. We should also have our borrower table, which is all good. We should have our address table, because remember we were looking up addresses. So that all looks really good. Looks like it's doing exactly what I want. Hang on a second, and I will try and create a more complex kind of plan. Okay, so here is a slightly more complicated little extraction. We're taking out loans, we're looking up the borrower by email address, then we're getting the collection of loan items. From there we're also getting the item, and we're looking it up by name, and then we're also looking at doing a lookup on item type by the column type ID, and also doing a lookup by condition using the default of code. And there's the extract having actually been done. So it's getting loans, getting borrower information, it's getting the date due and date started, it's getting each individual loan item. For the loan item, it's getting the individual item's name, its condition, and it's looking it up, and its type. Cool. So the only other thing that I did here was I added an environment at the top. So the forklift plan understands the idea of a named environment, so we now have an environment called dev, which points to this database on this server. So you can create dev and test and integration, whatever environments that you want, and be able to transfer information in between when you're specifying that, instead of using the database name on the command line. You can actually put in the name of an environment, and that's really handy if you've got remote machines that you want to be able to forklift data onto and off of. So there's more things that Forklift will do, but I'm not going to show them because I've already been going for 18 minutes or so. But yeah, it's a work in progress. It's just something that I've been playing with. We've used it to pretty great effect in our current project. If you want to know more, the source code is available. It's not particularly robust, so you'll get all kinds of weird errors, but it's at github.com/wolfbite/forklift. If you want to send me any feedback, I am at this email address, michael.minichillo@gmail.com. Thank you for your time.